I will start with the statement that, because I want to give you a little credit, because something we had on the show back in February. You and I kind of discussed that there was a possibility that this could be one of the best defensive teams the Cardinals have seen. And you and I had a talk about, in terms of Cardinals teams, we kind of mentioned maybe that 80s group that had the infield with Hernandez, Oberkfell, and Ozzie may have been one of the best defensive teams we've ever seen. And at that time, we said, this team coming up might do something special if they all are healthy and they all stick around. Well,
they did.
They did something pretty special.
And one of the things I wrote about, it's really hard to compare eras. And I realize that, all right, no team in Major League history has ever had 5 Gold Glove winners in one season. I mean, that's pretty extraordinary. Now, it doesn't mean they're that like, well, this then must be the greatest defense of all time. I can't go there. And I'm not taking anything away from them, but I just can't go there. I mean, I saw those 80s Cardinals, and while it's true they did not have 5 Gold Glove winners in a single year, I mean, they had Gold Glove winners every year, and they had a lot of them. And they had a guy named Ozzie Smith and, Willie McGee. And then before he got traded, Keith Hernandez and Terry Pendleton won multiple Gold Gloves. And I mean, on and on and on, right on down the list. So, and also you want those of us who watch that team play, we always talk about the eye test, right? That the eye test there could only be summed up as spectacular. So I would never, I have a hard time, just saying that, this year's team, and we're going to talk about it because I think it was exceptional. But I have a hard time just saying, well, yeah, they were better than Whitey's team, or even some of those La Russa's teams. Remember, with La Russa, they had a lot of Gold Glove players. I mean, just a lot. Molina winning a bunch of them. You had Pujols winning a couple. You had Fernando Vina win a couple. Renteria won 2. You had Roland. You had Edmonds. Who am I leaving out? There's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And so if the one thing that I mentioned, and I got to find this. Okay, here we go. And that group, okay, let me make sure I got them all. Okay, yeah, the multiple Gold Glove winners in the La Russa era, 96 through 2011. Edmonds, Molina, Roland, Pujols, Matheny.
Oh, I forgot Matheny.
Vina and Renteria. That group pulled off something that could rival the 5 Gold Gloves this year. The TLR Cardinals won 11 Gold Gloves over 3 years. That's a lot.
Oh.
They actually had 4 Gold Glove winners in back-to-back seasons. So I'm saying 5 is a record, and it's wonderful. But I'd say 4 back-to-back matches that, maybe even exceeds that, right?
That's impressive.
And, and some of the multiple-year winners when we're talking about those 2 years, right? 2002, 2003. 2002 through 2004. Roland 3 times, Edmonds all 3 times, Renteria twice, Matheny twice, Vina 1. So, and that was just that's all 3 years. So that's what I mean. My point in heralding this defense, I don't want to diminish some of the other truly great defenses we've seen from the Cardinals, during recent times. It's just not fair. And this one, though, is a very special defense. There's no question about it. But you know what I like here? You know what my takeaway is? And I think by now people know it's Goldschmidt, it's Edman, it's Arenado, it's O'Neill, and it's Bader. And Yadier didn't win. And frankly, I thought Jacob Stallings clearly deserved it. So, you know what my takeaway was when I thought about this? Because I thought about it. It occurred to me, when I was writing this and thinking about all this, all those great defensive teams of the 80s, the really great defensive teams that La Russa had. And this is not me picking on Mike Matheny. It is what it is. I mean, they won some Gold Gloves under Matheny, but it was really, most of them were Molina. And another one was Jason Hayward, I'm sorry. And that was pretty much it. So it kind of dried up. I mean, Molina was continuing to win them, but you didn't see 3 winners. You didn't see 4 winners, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So you know what this year did, because this defense was so great? To me, it just restored the state of Cardinals defense to what it should be. This team can take its place in that conversation of, all right, 80s defense, La Russa defense, maybe some other ones. Hey, this team's done enough winning these 5 Gold Gloves and all these other excellent statistics that they put together during the year. They've done enough to be in that conversation and be prominent in that conversation. And the most important thing is that the Cardinals have almost always been known for having great defensive clubs, right? You can go decades back for that. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of stopped. That kind of stopped for a while. Now they're back there again. And I think that's really cool, because it's one of the main reasons they were able to get a playoff spot last year. But, you know, I give Mike Shildt a tremendous amount of credit. And, you know, I've done this consistently for making defense a priority again. You know, he replaced Matheny in July of 2018. And he said, when he took over, I mean, I'll never forget it. He said, we're going to turn this into a great defensive club again, because that's what the Cardinals stand for. We're going to have good fundamentals. We're going to be a better base running team. We're going to get all this cleaned up. And it was just great to hear it, because it seemed to me Matheny he kind of shrunk away from that stuff, and it showed. Here's the stat. From 2016 through 2018, because Shildt couldn't put his plans in effect until 2019 when he went to spring training. Right. That's when he started to work hard on the defense, because that's when you do it. It starts in spring training. Anyway, 2016 through 2018, the Cardinals had a total, all 3 of those years, right? 2 defensive runs saved over 3 seasons, ranked 17th in the majors.
Wow, that's it. Huh?
Yeah. The Cardinals, according to Fangraphs, the last 3 seasons, Schilt's 3 full seasons, 174 defensive runs saved, which is the most in the majors over that time. So think about that again. Just roll that around in your mind.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
3 seasons, 2 defensive runs saved, followed by 3 seasons, 174 defensive runs saved. I mean, that blows you away.
Yeah, it does. It's not even, it's almost embarrassing.
And so when you see the 5 Gold Gloves, you know what the 5 Gold Gloves mean to me? It represents the excellence of St. Louis Cardinals defense, an excellence that frankly had been lost there for a while. And now it's back. And I think it isn't just Shildt, because after all, Mozeliak went and traded for Goldschmidt and Arenado, and they traded for O'Neill, and they drafted and developed, you know, Bader and Edmonds. So it isn't just Shildt, but the managers and his coaches are the ones that have to, if you have talent, you still got to make sure it's sharp and they're doing what they should do, running the bases and playing defense. And Shildt did a phenomenal job of that. He really did. You ask me what his legacy is, I'd say that's his legacy. I mean, there's a couple other things, but I'd put that at the top of the list. I've talked too long, Jim. So
he has to get credit for what took place this year. Those are great defensive players. They work hard. They did all the stuff. But the manager, who is no longer here, has to receive lots of credit for making that part of what is going to be remembered for this team. For years, I can't imagine, we'll be doing this every year. Oh, 5 more guys want. No, it's a first ever. That will be part of the conversation, or at least it should be, because credit has to go to Mike Shildt for making that part of the game again. I do remember the difference he made. I didn't realize it was that drastic when you put the defensive run saved. I knew that was a major bugaboo about Mike Matheny's teams. Like, man, this team just doesn't catch the ball like they should.
Oh, it's just so bad.
And then when you put in the defensive run save numbers, and they're both equally over a 3-year span, that's like I said, it's almost an embarrassment how different each was. As far as the group that just won, the Edmund thing did surprise me. I'm not saying it's not deserving, but that's the one I didn't see that one coming. I thought I thought one of the other guys would have received it, because sometimes it is on merit. That is right. Part of the counter. Hey, well, this guy's been great over the course of time. We'll give it to him again. But I think that was an accomplishment for Tommy Edman that he won his first one this year with that group.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that, to me, Goldschmidt should have been a no-brainer, but it was probably a close call, but I'm glad the right call was made.
Yeah.
I thought obviously O'Neill was a no-brainer. I mean, he was the reigning Gold Glove winner in left field, and he was even better this year.
Yeah, he was.
There's nobody playing left field that's anywhere near him. And I really thought Bader was going to be an easy winner because he just had a phenomenal season defensively. I mean, that's all you need to say, and every metric bears that out, and plus the eye test. Here's the way I looked at Edman. I thought, well, he's got a chance because, Wong missed a lot of time, and even though Wong actually had a really good season when he played, right? Mm-hmm. He was really good again defensively.
Yeah, he was.
I thought, well, these managers and the coaches who vote, I just thought, you know what? They're going to stay the course with Wong because they know he's really, really good. They're not going to, he's won 2 in a row. They're not going to hold his his injuries against them because after all, a guy like Bader had injuries. He won the gold, and that's okay if you're that exceptional. So I thought they would just kind of, okay, Wong, hey, Wong's pretty good, man. This guy's probably the best second baseman in the league, blah, blah, blah. But I give them credit. They were really, really observant. And I think Tommy Edman did catch a lot of attention this year in the National League because teams saw the way he played second base. And, he didn't lead the second base in terms of like defensive run save because he also spent a lot of time in other positions. But he did lead second base in that StatCast stuff, like outs above average.
Yeah, yeah.
And also runs prevented. So it tells me, too, the manager and coaches who voted on this, it tells me they were looking at believe it or not, looking at the advanced metrics.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because that tipped it.
It did.
To Edman's favor. If we're looking for a tipping point, that's the one thing unmistakably that tipped it towards Edman. And the only way you know that or do that is if you read the stuff that Sabre hands to you. They're trying to help these guys make more informed decisions, just providing sabermetric information, just they don't, and the managers, they can disregard it and all that, but apparently it caught their attention. Now, I thought Arenado, frankly, I don't think he was the best third baseman in the NL this year, but he was very good. And how many times have we seen through the years where managers and coaches say, when they know a guy is truly one of the all-time greats, and he's still really good, right? It's not like he fell apart.
No.
They're like, man, it's Arenado, man. Look, he just gets the benefit of the doubt. And we've seen guys, even our guys, like Molina, they'll win a Gold Glove on rep some years.
Yes.
And I got no problem with what they did. I'm just saying I can't just be a homer and say, oh, yeah, absolutely. No, there was some doubt about whether he was the most deserving. But I understand the man's reputation is so incredible. This is 9 Gold Gloves in a row. I mean, I can't fault anyone for staying with him and their belief. I don't care what the numbers show this time because I know he's the best third baseman. If that was the mentality, I got no problem with that. If you're doing it 5-6 years from now, after, say, an Arenado's kind of broken down, if you're doing it then I do have a problem with that. But he's still close enough to the top where, that's a fine and justifiable vote.
Agreed with that part. I just wonder if a guy like Ryan McMahon had played all his games at third, if that would have changed a little bit of,
probably,
I really think that's part of that process because he was really good defensively.
And Arenado's cousin was too.
Fuentes is a good third baseman too. Yeah.
They led the majors, the Rockies, as a position, third base in defensive run save, believe it or not. How do you do that?
That's crazy.
How do you do that after It just was one of those years. But I'm happy for him.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
I hope people understand where I'm coming from. I try to play these things straight, but it's not like it's some terrible choice or anything. Not at all. He's Nolan Arenado, right?
Agreed.
Enough said.
Yep.
What was your favorite, or what do you think has been the best one during your lifetime? I mean, depending on your age. And how was that defense in the? I wasn't here. Well, then again, you were. I don't know. No, you were a very little guy, if you were a guy at all here, like as in a person.
What year are we talking?
Talking about those teams in the 60s.
Yeah, I can't get a good
I know
feel.
Javier was great, and Del Maxwell was great, right?
Yeah, Maxwell, Javier, Kurt Flood was as good as anybody.
Excellent. He was. And the numbers have stood up very well over time with him.
Yes.
Gibson was a tremendous fielder. As for, among pitchers.
You had, I don't know. You could maybe give me a little feel for Cepeda at first, I imagine.
Yeah, I have to look.
I really.
Because I didn't see him, obviously.
I didn't either. And I always know what a good hitter he was. I never got a feel for the defensive side for him. Everyone tells me Maris was as good as anybody. He was extremely overlooked when it came to defense.
Yeah, that's the rep, too.
Yeah.
And, Mike Shannon swears to that. And that's a situation where, even though that was obviously late in his career, talking about Maris, he made a really big impression in St. Louis. I didn't get here till '85, but just it was always taken by how many conversations included him when you were talking to Shannon, you were talking to guys from that period. You're talking to Lou Brock, you're talking to Gibson, you talk to all those guys, and, man, they just exalted Roger Maris.
Yeah.
They just thought the world of him, So Whitey Herzog the same way, because they were great friends anyway, so,
yes.
And Whitey's got a million terrific Roger Maris stories. So what do you think about, and we don't have a lot of time because we're going to take a quick break, but I thought we'll start looking at some free agents, coming up, in the next several days. And I'm sorry, because I was looking for something.
By the way, Dodgers signed the left-handed pitcher, Haney.
They did?
Yeah.
Andrew Haney?
1 year, $8.5 million with the Dodgers for Haney.
They're going to try to turn him around, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Like just since we started the show, actually, that just came out.
Our friend Ben Clemens and a team of fellow analyst at Fangraphs, and I always love to pump up Fangraphs, and Ben Clemens is a semi-regular guest here on the show. We'll try to get him on again soon, maybe this week, hopefully. Mm-hmm. They're out with their top free agents, their rankings going into the start of the free agency season. Number 1's Carlos Correa. Number 2 is Corey Seager. Number 3 is Marcus Semien, who just won a Gold Glove, but at second base. Number 4 is Max Scherzer. Number 5 is Freddie Freeman. Number 6 is Chris Bryant. Number 7 is Robbie Ray. I like Robbie Ray. Number 8 is Marcus Stroman. Number 9 is Starling Marte. He's a really good player. He's
like 31 now. Though,
yeah,
right?
he's really been really good out in Oakland. Number 10 is Trevor Story. And I could go on, but that's the top 10 for now. Well, Javier Baez is Castellanos is 11, Baez 12.
Wow.
See, now I'm tempted to go through some more. Eduardo Rodriguez, the pitcher, is 13th.
The Correa thing is intriguing because I don't know what his market is. I know he's the number one guy.
Yeah. Everybody seems to think Detroit's going to just give him what he wants, and
I've heard that too.
Be done with it. So we'll see. Correa's a hell of a player. It's just a matter of getting him on the field.
Yeah,
I mean he's unlike these other shortstops on the list. He's equally strong offensively and defensively. Some of these other guys ride high on one or the other. Keith Law, Trevor Story's got some good metrics and everything. Keith Law did a thing just taking that apart, just saying he's really losing it at shortstop.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, Cardinals are going to go after him.
The injury thing is what I have a issue with.
Yeah.
I don't know how healthy he is. Back to Correa though.
Sorry about that.
No. I don't have a feel for what he wants. He's
money.
Been so quiet.
Top dollar.
Right. He wants money, but then I go, well, who's ready to give him all the money? Because it really seems like you always go Yankees. It seems like the Yankees are dead set that they want that left-handed bat that Corey Seager has.
Yeah, and get the cheap home runs and all that.
So then where does Correa go? You know, and you mentioned Detroit, and I get that. I would also
they're an up-and-coming team.
They are close.
They're really, really good after a bad start last year, and Hinch is a terrific manager.
They've got a group of young arms that look like they're going to be ready to take off with. The thing I have with that is how much, and again, money might solve all problems, but how much of a sale job did they have to do for Correa to convince him to go to Detroit? Because it's been a franchise that's been down for a while.
Yeah, that I don't know, but I would look. It's easy for me to say because I'm not Carlos Correa, but I would actually have confidence in that situation because if you look, it wasn't that long ago they were in the hunt every single year, and they got to a couple of World Series. Yeah, I think it was a couple. Yeah,
they've been to
a couple of World Series, and obviously the one in 2006. And what happened is Mike Ilitch, who was, lack of a better term, he was aging and not doing well, and then in effect dying, and he got so desperate to win one more that they just started throwing money at everything. I mean, at everything, and it set them back for years. But before that, I mean, they were a good team, and they had it going on, but the owner was just a desperate man, and just throwing money at everything doesn't always work. In fact, a lot of times it doesn't work at all. But I'm looking at the Tigers, and if you just I don't know where to start this because there's a couple different ways. First of all, most people, including me, would be surprised to know that the Tigers finished 12 games above 500. I mean, they were really good last year. And then the other thing is they, I think it was 12 games. Maybe I have that wrong. I'm glad I'm going to the eye doctors, later this week. I tell you what, man. But they got off to a really bad start, and then they played really, really well for pretty much the rest of the season. Might have faded a little bit late, but look at the standings here, and I apologize for rambling.
I got 77 and 85.
85. See, at least I caught myself.
Nope.
Yeah. But they had a winning record, like, in effect from like mid-May on, so they were coming on. They were kind of a stealth team. They were pretty good. So I think that division, frankly, I think Cleveland will retool a little bit. We know the White Sox will be strong again. The Royals could be a little better. I don't know what to make of the Twins, but my point is that, there's upward mobility possibilities in that division if you're a Detroit.
Yeah. I agree with that.
It'll be interesting to see what's going to happen there. But yeah, let the buyer beware on just about all these shortstops. And I think Trevor Story, Ken Rosenthal had this today. A lot of people think he's going to wind up with Texas because he's from Irving, Texas.
Okay.
So it makes sense. And if not Texas, maybe Houston because it's Texas.